Alright, so here we have a review of the triangle angle sum theorem and exterior angles. So just to review, triangle angle sum theorem, if you have any triangle whatsoever, any triangle, let's call their angles A, B, and C. We'll call them the angles. The angle measurements inside of a triangle should all add up to 180 degrees. We proved this in a few different ways, so I'm not going to prove it here again, but if you basically like take all of these angles here and put them side by side where they share the same vertex, they should create a straight line, right? You know what, just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to draw a better triangle that is nice and straight. So let's see here. See if it lets me. Okay, so really you can do this again with any triangle whatsoever. So that's just the one I drew. I'm going to go ahead and make some different markings here. So I'm going to call this here angle A. This one here. And then I will call this one here angle B. Just trying to make sure to trace them the best that I can. Okay, and then this one here we'll call angle C. Oh, got a little bit messy, but should be okay. Alright, so what the angle sum theorem tells us is that if we were to take all those angles and add them together, they should add up to 180 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off to the side here, make it as straight as I can. So I'm basically just copying the angles, right? That's all I'm doing. So I need all the corners to match up here. So you guys see here, I want those little corners there to match up. There we go. So that's B. It's upside down, right? So let me flip that for you in case that freaks you out. There you go. All right, and then now I'm going to go ahead and copy C. Duplicate. There we go. I'm going to have to turn it just a little bit. Get it to line up with B there. Whoops. There we go. Alright. So it's not perfect, right, because I was kind of sketching it. But if you guys see here, we have a straight line. Okay? And we know that any straight angle, these three angles, A, B, and C, make this straight angle that is 180 degrees. Okay, so you can do that with any triangle whatsoever. So what this tells us here is 30 plus 115 plus x must equal 180. Now a lot of you got pretty good at these types of problems and you just started subtracting the other angles from 180 to find your missing angle. So some of you guys just kind of put into a calculator 180 minus 30 minus 115, and you're right, like whatever you get would be x. That would be the missing angle measurement. But make sure that you do know how to set up an equation, because some of these will get more difficult, right? And I know you guys have seen them where like an angle might be like 2x plus 10, right? And then that's not as easy to simplify. So you want to make sure you know how to set up the equation. So this here is 145 plus x equals 180. Subtract 145 from both sides. We get x equals 35 degrees. Okay? So again, this video here is to for you to just check your work and to kind of help you get started if you're struggling on getting started on a problem. But please don't just sit here and copy the entire thing. Please actually do the work on your own, pause the video, try things out. I'm going to do them all very quickly just to keep the video as short as possible. So again, here's another triangle. Even though there's no angle measurement written right here, that is a 90-degree angle. So that little square, remember, is always 90 degrees. That's a right angle. So some students start to get confused. They're like, oh, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, yes, that is true, but we're not talking about the sides A, B, and C, right? We are talking about the angles inside of the triangle. The angles are different than the sides. So always keep in mind what exactly you're working with. Here we're working with angles, okay? So here we know that 35 plus 90 plus y should equal 180 degrees because it's a triangle. These two together is 125. So we get y equals 55 degrees. Okay? Sorry, I'm not saying every single step, but make sure that you know how to solve that on your own. Alright, so same idea here. Once again, we have a triangle. We are dealing with angle measurements here. Okay? We need to solve for x. So try to set up an equation like this one here. This one will have 65 plus 55 plus x equals 180. And it doesn't matter how you set it up. You could have put them like this. You could have put 55 plus x plus 65, right? It does not matter what you do there to set it up. It just depends on however your brain decides to write them in order. So these two add up to 120. Subtract that from both sides. We get x equals, sorry, that's a minus 120. X equals 60 degrees. And then again, to always check it, if you guys wanted to, you can type into a calculator 65 plus 55 plus 60, and you should get 180 degrees. Okay? So to double check your work on these problems, you can add up all the angles and know that they're supposed to be 180. So then you'll know if you did it right or not. Alright, so here's two more. Make sure that you're trying, okay? Please try it on your own. So this one here, 30 plus 115 plus x should give us 180 degrees. This one would be 145. So x equals 180 minus 145. We get x equals 35 degrees. Okay? I feel like we did that one already. Oh my goodness, that is the same one. Well, whatever. Extra practice. Sorry. Alright. I don't know how that happened, honestly. Whatever. Alright, so here we have this square here. That is a right angle. That is 90 degrees. And in this question mark here, let's just call it x, you know, so that we actually have a variable instead of putting a question mark in our equation. So again, this is a triangle. We're only looking at angle measurements. So we know all the angles add up to 180 degrees. Okay. 40 plus 90 is 130. Subtract that from both sides. Get x equals not 150. I keep doing that. I did that in yesterday's video too. 50 degrees. And that makes sense because 90 plus 40 plus 50, this is 130 plus 50, that is 180 degrees. And that is exactly what you wanted to end up with. Okay? Make sure I'm not, yeah, okay, good. Alright, these go into exterior angles, okay? So exterior angles, you guys actually had done a video. I don't believe I was there that day. So, let's look at this a bit. We know that, let's call this here, since we don't know it, right? Let's call this an X. This is like, I think that's a T. My goodness, I'm just going to call that a T. I'm going to put a little curve here so you know it's a T, not a plus or anything like that. So we know that T plus X equals 180 degrees. Okay, because they create this straight line right here, right? Side by side, straight line. We also know that 19 plus X plus 24 equals 180 degrees. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's get a little creative here. So if this equals 180 and this equals 180, then these two are equal. So I know T plus X must equal 19 plus X plus 24. And this might not have been the way that you were taught, right? But this helps you see why it works. So we know that this is a fact, right? If they both equal 180, then they must both be equal to each other. So what we can do is subtract X from both sides. And what that does is it cancels out that X there. So now we have T equals 19 plus 24. t equals 43 degrees. Okay. Now, another way you could have done it is solve for x. So we knew that 19 plus 24 plus x equals 180. So we can solve that. This is 43 plus x equals 180. Yeah, x equals 137 degrees. So this angle here is 137. So then I know right here, right, that shows me t plus 137 equals 180 because they're on that straight line. So then if I were to subtract and solve that, we get t equals 43 degrees. Now, if you notice something here, what is interesting about exterior angles? So this exterior angle here, t, will always be equal to the sum of the opposite angles. So the two angles that it's not touching. So every single time this exterior angle here will be equal to these two angles added together. 19 plus 24 is 43. The reason why is because of this here. That missing angle plus this angle here is 180, and these two plus x, this angle here, is also equal to 180 degrees. So that means that these two things, the t and the 1924, must be equal. Okay? Alright, so let's look at this next one. This next one's a little bit more of a puzzle. You kind of just go with what you know, do as much as you can. So I know for a fact that this here is 90 degrees because it's a right angle, but I don't know E and I do not know D. So what I recommend doing is seeing, okay, well, what do I know, right? Can I do anything with this 90 yet? Well, I don't know D and I don't know E, so I cannot use the triangle angle sum theorem because I don't have enough information. But we do know 131 plus D should equal 180 degrees because they create a straight line. So 131 plus D should be 180. So you subtract that. D equals 49 degrees. So now we know that this angle here is 49 degrees. And now that helps us find missing angle E. So we know E plus 49 plus 90 should equal 180 degrees. So this is going to be E plus 139, if you add these two together, equals 180. E, oh, whoops, not E yet. Minus 139 minus 139. We get E equals 41 degrees. Okay? So that one wasn't so much interior angles, but if we know that E is 41 degrees, I just want us to look at what is 41 plus 90? Should be 131. 131 is the exterior angle here. It is on the exterior of the triangle. Okay, you extend one of the lines or the sides of the triangle, and whatever angle is created here is called the exterior angle or an exterior angle. There could be more than one, right? So this T over here, this was the exterior angle. It's on the exterior, the outside of the triangle. Okay? Alright, sorry if you can hear my window. All my cars going by. My AirPods were not connecting again, so I need to figure that out. Alright, so this one, let's see if you guys can think about it. Let me make sure it's not the same. Okay, good, it's not the same problem. So, we know these two angles here. We do not know this one, and we need to find this angle here, X. Okay, I'm just marking them all with different marks if you guys can tell. This one I did with 1 arch, and this one I did with 2, and then this one I did with 1 with 2 dashes through them. So what we know here is these two things here sorry. My allergies are acting up now. Perfect, right as I'm almost done with the video. So these two here, 63 plus 56 plus whatever this is here, right, should add up to 180 degrees. Now also this thing here plus the green thing, angle, should also equal 180 degrees. So if I wanted to show you guys again, just a proof, we know 63 plus 56 plus the question mark, I'll just leave it like that, equals 180. And we know x plus the question mark equals 180, because those two here, the angles, make a straight line. These three are inside of a triangle, so we know angles inside of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So if you see here, you can kind of look at how it all like lines up, right? That means these two things are equal, these two things are equal, so that means these two must be equal. So x is equal to 63 plus 56. X equals 119. And if you want to prove that, if you want to make sure that that works, you can look and see, okay, so if x is 119, that means that this green angle here, 119 plus 61, would give us 180 for this straight line right here, right? And then if you wanted to check inside the triangle, you do 63 plus 56 plus 61. These two is 119 plus 61, and use a calculator to check it. You do get 180 degrees. So whenever you get the 180, you know that you did it correctly. Okay? So overall, x is 119 degrees. Oh, this one's simple. This one's not even needing anything else. You don't need these two here because you see right here that this creates a straight line, these two angles. So this tells me that angle x plus the 40 degrees equals 180 degrees. And then once you solve that, you're good to go. So subtract 40 from both sides. We get x equals 140 degrees. From there, you could find the rest if you wanted. I mean, we could have found this one right away anyway. So this is a 90-degree angle. So within the triangle, we know 40 plus 90 plus, I'll put a question mark here. Question mark equals 180. If these are 130 plus question mark equals 180, the question mark should equal 50 degrees. Now, if that is equal to 50, you can see how my two angles over here, 90 plus 50, gives me x right here, which is 140 degrees. So I want to make sure you guys are seeing these patterns as you go through these problems. So this one here, there's multiple ways to solve it, okay? Using your knowledge that these two angles here should add up to equal this, you could solve for x right away, if you remember that that is the truth. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually copy this on my screen, and I'm going to do it two different ways, just so you can see both ways. So, using our knowledge that those two angles add up to equal that exterior angle, so this here is the exterior angle. I meant to write that for all these as well. Up here, this one is exterior angle. And right here, this one here is the exterior angle of that triangle. Right? And there are more, right? I could keep on extending out, you know, my lines to make more exterior angles, but it's not necessary for these problems. So, if we know that the 95 is the exterior angle, that should equal these two angles over here, the sum of them. So 95 equals x plus 53. You solve for x by subtracting 53 from both sides. We get x equals 42 degrees. 42 degrees. So now over here, what I'm going to do is use your guys' knowledge of straight angles and then the triangle angle sum theorem, so you can solve it either way. So here first, I'm going to find this angle here. We'll call it y. I know that y and 95 add up to 180 because they're on a straight line. Okay? Oops. Y. So y plus 95 equals 180. subtract 95. We get y equals, that would be 85 degrees. So that helps me out here, 85 degrees. Now I know that everything that is within this triangle should also add up to 180 degrees. So now that helps me solve for x. So I know x plus 85 plus 53 should equal 180 degrees. So these two angles here add up to equal, x plus 138 equals 180. Subtract 138, we get x equals 42 degrees. Okay? You can even check it. I mean, like, you can look over here. We also got 42 degrees, right? And that's because 42 plus 53 should give us this exterior angle 95. And it sure does. 42 plus 53 is 95. So hopefully this was a good review. Make sure that you guys do the Khan Academies. If you did not finish these Khan Academies, please go back and finish them. Get 70% or above for full credit. Email me once you're done with them. Have a good day.